Bon, a priori, c'est bon. Hi, everyone. So, I hope you can all hear me. If it's not the case, or I will do the reverse. If you can hear me, can you just say hi in the chat? So I know there is no problem for everyone, for anyone. Okay, perfect. So it works. To start, I will put a big video so you can see our face better. So, my name is Faustine, and I work for Join a School in France, and we're here today to discuss about our interviews for the management schools that we represent, and why you and how you can become a jury member for your school. So, first of all, thank you very much for attending this webinar today. We were supposed to be 3 speakers, so myself, Vincent, who is here with us now, and Shishir, but unfortunately, Shishir is not able to log in, so he might write in the chat about his experience as a jury member, as an organizer. So, for those of you who don't know what is Join a School in France exactly, I will tell you a bit more about that. So let's see what's the agenda for today. So yeah, I will present you Join a School in France in details. Then we'll talk about the interviews itself and why you should be involved as a jury member in your city. And then we'll talk about the details of the interview, so where it takes place, when, how, etc., etc. So what is the mission of Join a School in France? We are a service of the Chamber of Commerce of Paris, and our mission is to recruit international students for these schools. So if you are here today, it's because you are on our alumni list for the management school. We recruit international students for master program all over the world. So we represent management schools, Audencia, EM Lyon, ESCP Europe, HEC Paris, and Schema Business School. We also work with an engineering school, ESCP Paris, 3 fashion schools, l'IFM, la Fabrique et l'école de la chambre syndicale de la culture parisienne. And finally, we also recruit for different schools related to the Chamber of Commerce, so Ferrandi, Gobelin, and ISIPCA. So today we're going to focus on the management schools because we are recruiting for these 5 schools for more than 30 years. And each year we organize interviews in more than 80 countries, 80 cities, sorry. And if you have already participated with us, you know how it works. And for those of you who don't know, we will explain it to you today. So last year, more than 400 alumni have participated, and we have a network of more than 2,000 alumni all over the world. And each year we have more and more people. Oh, I see that Shishir is here. So I finished the introduction, and then I will let the speaker introduce themselves. So yeah, every year we have more and more people participating. So thank you for that. And so about the speaker, Shishir, can you hear us? And can we hear you? Nope, apparently no. So let me just fix it for a minute. Shishir, you have to unlock it on your screen for the sound. Otherwise, Vincent, can you just introduce yourself and tell us from which school you are from?
Sure. Hi everyone. My name is Vincent. So I graduated from Lyon Business School in 1999, and in the meantime, I had a track record in the luxury industry. I've been working in places like Germany, Asia, and the US, mostly in the watch and jewelry business. In my last 2 roles, I was general manager for the brand Vacheron Constantin in Northern Europe, and then in the US. For this brand. But since since 2010.
Okay, and so you have participated to our interviews in New York and in Paris.
Right, absolutely.
Okay, and Shishir, so I think we can't hear him yet, but he is from Dubai. He is an alumni from ESCP, and he has participated in Dubai, and he has also organized the interviews at his office. So you can see that you can use the chat. I see that a lot of you are already started to use it. And Solveig is here today to answer all your questions. So if you have any question, you can just type it and she will answer it directly. So first question, why become a jury member for Join a School in France? So Vincent, can you tell us what was the reason why you participated and what were the advantage for you?
Yeah, I think, for me, in fact, I think there were two main reasons for me to join and to be a jury member. First of all, I think I feel very grateful that I could join EM Lyon. I was lucky enough that I didn't personally have to pay for that, and I was fortunate enough that my parents paid for my education at that time. And getting older, I feel that it's kind of time for me to give back as well, and to invest a little bit of my time in helping students, organizations to become more mature and get a better understanding of the business world, which I'm happy to help with. So that was the first reason, I felt I was willing to give back. The second point is that, again, as I'm getting older and taking more senior roles in organizations and companies, I'm dealing with much younger staffs that have different motivations, that have different track records, which I feel are much more various than when I was joining Lyon at that time. That have different habits and ways to communicate, and again, motivations, I think, in business world. And I feel that by interviewing those guys in the frame of that program, I feel that I have a better chance to understand them, and also in that way to be much closer to the staff I would manage in my teams in the future as well. So these are the two main reasons for me.
Okay. Did you also meet alumni from your school in New York, for example, that you did not know before?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I think all the guys came from other schools.
Okay, and do you see an advantage of meeting people from another school, like they are from HEC or ESCP, but is that can also be an advantage for you in terms of networking?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it did clearly help me to work and extend my knowledge of the city, of the business opportunities in New York as well as in Paris.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Shishir, does it work? The sound? No, still not. So I will talk about the advantage for us to have you as jury members, and also the advantage for the school. So basically, your evaluation, when you evaluate the candidate, the school will take your comments in order to evaluate the candidate. So it will add to the application of the candidate, and the advantage for us is to build a community of alumni all over the world. So as I mentioned earlier, we have more than 2,000 alumni in our database, and we are trying to really connect people. And I know, for example, that in Sao Paulo, one of the alumni agreed to organize the interviews at his restaurant, and there were maybe 5 or 6 alumni participating to this event, and they all met in the city and they didn't know each other before. So that small kind of event build the community and reinforce the community of the school everywhere in the world. So that will be the main goal for us. And so what will be your role as a jury member? So we will contact you prior to the interview and we'll send an invitation. And once you receive this invitation, we will send you the candidate's profile that you will meet, as well as what we call the interview guide. So it's here. I can't send it to you today because you'll receive it only if you are a jury member. But basically, it will help you understand how we evaluate the candidate. So we evaluated over 3 criteria: the communication skills, the general knowledge, and their personal qualities. So you have to understand why they want to come to France, if they are mature enough to do the master in management in one of these schools, if they have a clear project, because sometimes it's really obvious that it's only the parents, for example, that want them to come. So you will be able to evaluate them on this criteria, and you will be given an evaluation grid that goes from excellent to inadequate. So all these documents will be given to you once you register as a jury member. And can you, Vincent, maybe explain or tell us what was your experience during interviews? So how did you find the candidates? How do you identify the really good candidate, for example, and the one that are maybe not ready yet for the master in management?
Yeah, you know, I think for me it was a great experience. I very much loved it. I met amazing candidates. I think most of those guys have been studying abroad, right? And they want to join a school in France, so they had fantastic abroad experiences they could share about. Some of them were very mature for sure. Some of them were sometimes really more like lost in translation. But yeah, I mean, I think we met great people, great experiences, open to the world, and I think it's a fantastic opportunity to have those profiles joining schools in France. So yeah, I very much liked it.
Thank you. And also,
And the one thing, sorry, and the one thing I would add is, which is fantastic, is you deal with French native candidates who have been studying abroad, but you deal also with lots of foreign people as well, coming from Asia, coming from America, coming from Africa. So it's quite amazing to see the success and to see the scope of foreign candidates you guys have.
yeah, yes, it's one of our requirements. So we recruit only students who had an experience abroad, who had studied abroad. So even if they are French, they need to have at least a bachelor degree to apply with join a school in France. So that's why you only meet a few French students, and even if they are French, they have studied abroad. Also, I see that someone say that none of them spoke French. It's true that it's not one of our requirements because they applied for the master in management, and this master is taught in English. So the school do not require them to speak French. It is recommended, of course, because they will evolve in a French environment, but it's not mandatory. So, which lead me to the next question. Where does it take place? So we do it in face-to-face. It's a face-to-face interview because sometimes some of you ask me if they can do it by phone or Skype. We don't do that. It's really a face-to-face interview, and it is organized in the city of the candidate, in the city of the choice of the candidate. So it can be everywhere in the world. So we do it in approximately 80 cities all over the world. And where does it take place exactly? It's either in one of our partner office, which can be an embassy, a chamber of commerce, or a Campus France. So for those of you who don't know, the Campus France is a service usually inside the French Institute, and it's dedicated to the studies in France. So all the students and all the young person that want to come to France to study has to go to come to the Campus France. So they help us a lot in a lot of countries, and this is where we organize the interviews. But we can also do it at our alumni office if they offer to do it. So that's the case of Shishir, and too bad he can't
Yes, can you hear me
tell
now?
us. Ah, Shishir, yes, we can.
I went down and bought a new pair of headphones.
Oh, nice! Wow.
So, voila, I'm really sorry for all the delay. Yes, so may I just add to the conversation?
Yes, yes, sure.
Yes, I've had the pleasure of hosting a few interviews over the last couple of sessions in my office, and it's simply because Dubai is a very small city, and it doesn't really pose a big problem for people to reach a certain location, and it makes it easier for me as part of the jury to ensure that there is a certain environment created which is a bit formal, which makes the candidate feel that he is really going through a very serious engagement about his future. And I also have my a colleague who is also my first boss. 25 years ago, we started working together in L'Oreal in India, and I place great value on his feedback and occasional comments. So he also volunteers his time and insights occasionally. So yeah, so from the point of view of the candidate, he's getting feedback from an alumni of the Grande École, and he's also getting to speak to somebody who has had experience of dealing with multiple roles as an employee, as a senior manager, and now as an entrepreneur.
Yeah,
Voilà.
thank you, Shishir. So yes, I will add comment to that. Shishir, can you just slow down the sound because I can hear my voice.
Is that better?
Okay. Hello. Yeah, it's better. So yeah, one of the advantage when you organize it at your place, as you mentioned, Shishir, is that it creates a better environment for the students and for you as well. First of all, because in some country, I think about India, for example, it's not that easy to go to one location to another. So some of the alumni can't be present on time because of the traffic or any reason. So it's easier for them to do it at their place. And also for the candidates, they arrive in an environment where they are directly with the alumni, and the alumni is in charge. So it's easier for them and for the candidates. And also to take the example again of the interviews in Sao Paulo, it was in a restaurant, so it's not an official place to do an interview, but the candidates were more comfortable, the jury members were more comfortable to do it there as it was their first time, and so everyone was happy. And Vincent, maybe also you can tell us about your experience in New York, because I know some of you sometimes don't understand why the candidate don't come, and so they think that they come for nothing, etc. So
yeah, I took part in the session that was organized last I think it was last May or June 2017. I think the location, I don't remember, it was the
Alliance
culture
Française.
Alliance Française, right? Exactly. It was in the Alliance Française in Manhattan. I think globally the attendance was anyway to be low on that day. However, yeah, we get quite a few cancellations, and students didn't come, and it turned out that day I interviewed, like, I think one guy at the maximum, while I was scheduled for the whole day, which was a little bit disappointing. But I guess people didn't feel so engaged or afraid of traffic or whatever. I'm not too sure, but yeah, it was a little bit dry.
Yeah, so this happens also in London, for example, and the cancellation is something that we can't predict, I mean, from the candidates. So if you organize it at your own place, you don't have the risk to come and to be disappointed because they didn't show up. So you are in charge, you can call them directly, you fix the day and the date. So someone say that he can't hear me, I guess. Okay, okay. So yeah, if you're interested in organizing it at your place, or if it was if you always say no to be a jury member because you can't make it to the location, and if it's easier for you to do it at your office, you just have to let us know, and we will arrange something, and we will be happy to do so. So when does it take place now? We have a different session throughout the year. So we have exactly 4 sessions scheduled through the year. And the last one will be scheduled in May. So from May 16th to May 28th, these are the dates we have for the moment. We will have more to come, but for now, these are on the dates we have already fixed. So if you are in one of these cities, you can just email us at the end of this webinar or during next week, for example, and we will add you to the list of jury and give you also more details about the organization. Also, I didn't mention, but the interview for one candidate is approximately 30 minutes, 30-40 minutes. We try not to go after 30 minutes. And it's either in English or in French, depending of the language the students have chosen. But even if he chooses French, we will ask him we will test his English, because we need to know that he has a great level of English, as the program, as I said, is in English. So now it's your time to speak up. If you have any suggestion or any question about the process, or if you think about something that we could improve to make this experience better for anyone, please share it with us. So you can again use the chats, and now I will try to answer the question directly. Alors. Also, I see that there is one candidate who wants to do his interview in Dakar. C'est ça? Ah non? Ah pardon. Alors. So yeah, for example, Dakar is a city that we don't open a lot, but if the candidate asks to have his interview in this country, in this city, and we will do it, we will manage to find a solution. HSC, I met alumni from Schema. Oh, nice. Hi, Faustine. Why want to go study in France, or why such an... you mean that they ask a question about the program and the university, etc. In that case, what you can do is you just you just tell them that they can refer to us, and you give them our email address. They already have it, but they know that you are not directly related to the school. They know that you are alumni. So I will give you my email address just after. You will have it here, actually. So you can just go on Join a School in France at cci-paris idf.fr. Okay, so Shishir, Vincent, do you have anything to share again with us or with the alumni that you would like to discuss?
Yeah, sure. Okay. The 5 years that I've been a member of the jury, I've had, I think most candidates come very well prepared. And there have been a lot of candidates who've come from India, so they tend to be, they tend to think that just because they've cleared the entrance tests and some of them tend to apply very randomly to a lot of the schools because it's just something that they want to do. And I sometimes try to guide the students, especially from India and from other South Asian countries, that a little knowledge of the French language is extremely important. Although even though the degree program could be in English, but you still have to live in France. You still have to interact with people who speak French, and you do need to know a little bit of French for day-to-day management of your life. And it's just not, it is impossible to learn enough French to go by in just 6 weeks or 8 weeks that they have before they go to France for the course. So I think somewhere this needs to be put into place that they should attend a crash course in conversational French at the Alliance Française before they go to France, and at least be equipped with a little bit of the language so that they are a little more comfortable. Then because I've had situations where candidates we've interviewed and we've approved them and they've gone to France, have left and come back to India because they couldn't handle the day-to-day life, because they couldn't understand what was happening around them. So it's a huge waste of seats. So I would really recommend that people learn a little bit of the French language before they go to France.
Okay, so I take all these comments in notes, and we will talk about that to the school. So again, we do not decide. We are not the final. We don't make the final decision. Our role at Joiner School in France is really to organize all the process. We organize all the interviews, we collect all your comments and all the evaluation grid, and then we transfer it to the school. So I see, for example, on that matter, that when someone is asking about the weight of your comments in the admission score, we don't have the answer to this question, as we do not take the final decision. So if I can just give you an element of answer, is that your comments are really important to the school. They are not, they are part of the whole application, so they will take it into account, but then they will evaluate the applicant's application in several criteria. So if you have a question about that, you can refer directly to the school, or my manager, Anne-Laure, will answer you individually tomorrow to all these questions we have. But I take all the comments into account and make a report about that tomorrow.
Yeah, if I can add to that point, I think for us it was very important to to test the candidates both in French and in English during the interview. And as you say, it's not for us to assess. So we're just kind of rating the ability to speak French or to speak English on the reports we had to fill in at the end, so that at the end the right person can make the right decision. But I was pretty amazed to see that sometimes some people, applying for schools in French had very little French, or that some people applying for French native had been studying in Montreal or whatever had kind of a weak English while going for courses in English as well. So that was a little surprising, but I guess it's for the school itself to assess.
Yeah. Okay. I'll take note about that and talk to them. So I see that we do not have any question, or Solveig has already answered it. Thank you, Solveig. For those of you who could not attend today, you will receive this replay in your mailbox. And if you have never participated, I hope that you can make it for the fourth session or maybe next year, because the interviews for season 2019 will start in October. So next interview will be October, November 2018. So thank you again for all of you for attending this webinar today. Feel free to email me. I will leave you my personal address in the chat. And if you have any question or any remarks,